I'm Gary, and this is Coasting with Culture, which is all about combining theme park visits and riding roller coasters with various cultural experiences around the world. When visiting Silverwood earlier in the month, their newest coaster was still under construction, but a few weekends later, the newest screen machine of the Pacific Northwest has taken flight. And we'll check out some of the features of this new ride, plus a few other changes at the park. It was a little bit of deja vu departing right from work and driving through Snoqualmie Pass to stop for the night in Ellensburg, then getting up early the next morning to drive the last few hours to northern Idaho for another visit to Silverwood. I might have been a little bit eager to get to the park as I pulled up to the parking booth about 2 hours ahead of opening, but we don't get new coasters every year here in the Pacific Northwest, so there was a bit of extra excitement for this visit. Plus, I was meeting up with Matt from Park Journey at the park entrance. It seemed fitting to see a plane overhead while waiting for the park to open. And as part of Stunt Pilot's opening ceremony before rope drop, a stunt plane flew over a few times. Unfortunately, we were in a bad spot for seeing the plane, but in the grand scheme of things it wasn't that big a deal, as that wasn't the Stunt Pilot we came for. Once the rope opened up, the dash began for the newest single rail creation of RMC, and it was looking even better since it was now complete and ready to roll. Plus, they added a lot of neat details for this attraction. Walking over to the coaster, you'll find the park's signature roller coaster alley sign is back up in a new location just before you hit the entrance of Stunt Pilot. Theming for the ride kicks off with air show promotional posters on the fence between the roller coaster alley sign and the ride's entrance. The entrance and gift shop building resemble a hangar, with the first part of the queue offering a tribute to the park's old air shows, including a special tribute to former stunt pilot Bob Healy, one of the park's featured pilots until his passing in 1996. There's also a collection of photos from the park's air shows, and old film footage of the aerial acrobatics. Perhaps the best thematic feature of the queue is one of Bob Healy's old planes on display above it in an inverted position, similar to the experience that those in line are about to have. Stunt Pilot not only brings a unique ride experience to Silverwood, but a different way of operating as well. Similar to other RMC single-rail coasters currently operating or about to open, the coaster train continually moves and passengers are loaded on one by one in the 10-seat train. Because there could be odd-numbered or larger groups, the park is utilizing a single rider line to help ensure a full train as much as possible and to minimize the overall wait time. The kicker with the single rider line, though, is that unlike most parks, it begins once you're in the station building. So you'd be waiting through the exterior line, which on busier days could be a few times longer than the station wait. In the event that there are only a few people waiting in the single rider line, this could be a nice little time saver, but when there are people going into the backstretch of the single rider line, it might be better just to wait in the normal line. The continuous loading of the train is one of this coaster's best features, as it keeps things moving and increases the ride's overall capacity when combined with the single rider line. For most of the day, this ride had a shorter wait than both of the wooden coasters, thanks to a more efficient operation. It would be nice to see the two wooden coasters add a second train to help with their capacity for busy days like this one. Of course, the real question about this ride is how was it? As someone who has never ridden an RMC single-rail coaster before, I couldn't tell you how it compares to the two originals, although Matt shared that it isn't as intense as Railblazer or Wonder Woman. Well, if this is supposed to be a lighter version of those two rides, I can see why folks go nuts for them because this was an awesome ride. There's some great ejector air on this when seated in the back row, especially on the first drop, the off-axis airtime hill, and the drop following the S-curve. I haven't heard of a stunt plane having an ejector seat, but this sure feels like it does. A couple of rides in front also offered some great airtime moments, especially in the beginning of the off-axis hill, and a nice little pop at the end going into the brakes. The ride carries its speed well throughout the course, and felt like it got faster with each lap. After your flight, you make your way back into the hangar building of the entrance, exiting through the gift shop, where they have specialty t-shirts and bears with bomber jackets, along with other specialty stunt pilot items. This was such a good ride that the majority of our day was spent riding or watching it, although there were a few other things that we managed to do. When Matt's wife Rose got out from work, we visited the park's full-service restaurant Lindy's, named after the famous aviator Charles Lindbergh. There are a few tributes to him inside, such as a replica of his famous plane, the Spirit of St. Louis. This was my first meal here, which offers a combination of Italian dishes with hamburgers and sandwiches. I went for their penne Alfredo, which was probably my favorite meal I've had in the park so far. We also did a few things that allowed me to find answers to questions left in the comments of the opening day vlog, such as when Jacob New Stratton asked if Garfield still has a presence in the park. From what I could see in most areas, he wasn't part of the signage, and it turns out that the area where they used to have a meet and greet with him by the children's ride area is now an extended part of the toy shop, so it appears that Garfield is no longer part of the park. Another question in the previous vlog came from N617A, asking about the part of Tremors with the iBox track, and if it made for more airtime. I shared that that part of the helix where the track was installed is more of a gradual drop through the curve than other parts of the layout, and the lap we took on it during this visit confirmed that. The strongest airtime moments come from the hills between the tunnels, and a bit comes from the back-to-back hills after the large helix, all of which come from the original track, but it does keep a lot of speed through the course, and it turns out they're still finishing up work on the ride as they added more railings than there were on opening day to the portion where the iBox track was added. In the grand scheme of things though, this visit was really about Stunt Pilot and what an excellent addition it is for Silverwood. While recording footage for this coaster, it was neat to see some well-known coaster YouTube personalities getting footage of the new ride for their various projects. Even if it isn't as intense as the first two Raptor Track coasters, this is easily the best coaster in the park, and possibly the best of the Pacific Northwest. Any smaller parks looking for a ride that could make a splash would really do well with one of these. I would have no problem if this became the new Vekoma Boomerang, in the sense of becoming a smaller coaster that's often replicated. Although I love that there's the ability to see more unique layouts for it, such as Jersey Devil Coaster coming to Six Flags Great Adventure. RMC has really done a great job with this ride, and Silverwood has made an excellent addition to the park that pays tribute to its history in a really cool and thrilling way. Have you had a chance to ride Stunt Pilot yet, or have plans to? Share your thoughts in the comment section below, especially if you've ridden one or both of the two original Raptor Track coasters from RMC. I certainly hope to get a chance to try them in the future, but regardless of how they are, I can't wait to see what else RMC has up their sleeves for future installations, and I'm really stoked for Silverwood to have added such a great new ride to their collection. If I'm being honest, it might lead to a few more cross-state drives than I originally planned for this year. Thank you for watching this Coasting with Culture video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button below to see future videos here on YouTube, like these ones which you may enjoy as well. Additional content can be found at coastingwithculture.com, and you can also follow Coasting with Culture on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for announcements, previews, and updates. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care and safe travels.